Where do I even begin? I bought a bunch of books again. So Black Belt Reads back with another haul video. Starting off, I've wanted to read the Hannibal books for a long time. Of course, I've seen the movies. And it's funny, every time I would go look for these books, I'd go look for Thomas Harris and like the thriller, the horror. I could never find Red Dragon. It looks like they just released this new version. It's just a mass market paperback. Hey, perfect timing. This is one that I was looking for. So this is the first book in the series. So after I read this, I'll definitely be looking for Silence of the Lambs. Always wanted to read it. Loved the movie. So while I was there, this was at Walmart. They also had a new Stephen King book, The Dead Zone. This is the 45th anniversary edition. So I read The Dead Zone years and years ago. I'm reading all of King's books in publication order. I started doing this in like 2019 or something. I'm all the way up to, I've read Insomnia. I'm all the way into the 90s now. So I need to pick up that again. I've got Rose Matter would be my next one. So, but I really, really liked The Dead Zone and didn't have it in my collection. So now I have just about every single one of his books in physical copy. So another author that I've read before and I wanted to read more of. So this is Bret Easton Ellis. This is his new book. I think it came out last year, The Shards. So I've read 2 or 3 Ellis books, like American Psycho, Less Than Zero, and this is his newest book. I think it's sort of autobiographical fiction in a way. It's about him when he was writing his first novel when he was in college. I don't know, I heard it's really good. I heard that it's pretty creepy, pretty scary. Bret Easton Ellis is definitely controversial, but I've liked what I've read by him. They actually had another hardcover. I have never read this one, Lunar Park. So this was really cheap. It was just a few dollars. So yeah, got a hardcover of this. They said this one is kind of like Bret Easton Ellis if he was Stephen King, like writing a kind of like a horror novel. I don't know which one I'll read first, but always happy to pick up hardcovers for cheap. These were really cheap. So next up, I don't remember if I've shown, I got the 3 Robin Hobb books. The first in the trilogy, Assassin's Fates or whatever. I can't even remember what the first 3 are called. But then the second trilogy is Ship. So Ship of Magic, Ship of Destiny, I believe, and Mad Ship. So I got book 1 and book 2 of the second trilogy. Have I read the first trilogy that I bought? No. Of course not. No. Haven't even started. I'm a total weirdo. These are new editions and they just looked really nice and I wanted them. So definitely need to read some Robin Hobb. It's on my list for sure. I've heard that the second trilogy is actually even better than the first trilogy. So I always like when I have something to look forward to. So I'll read the first trilogy and then I'll move on to this. I'm pretty confident that I will like it. I'm weird. I will buy like the whole series before I even start reading it if I just am pretty sure I'm gonna like it. So I've heard nothing but good things about Hobb. She's got beautiful writing. That's a check for me. So the next book is quite a bit different. So I'm a huge fan of Superman and collected editions. I don't usually like to buy paperbacks like this. This is just a paperback. Man, this is a thick paperback. It was $60. So you can get these for usually 40 to 50% off. I held out and tried to wait for a sale and it looked like stock was running low, so I just grabbed it at like 35 or 40% off. I really, really like Philip Kennedy Johnson. He has a book that he did with the same artist here, Riccardo Federici. I mean, look at that artwork. Yeah, so super excited to read this. They did a book together called The Last God, and it was one of my favorite books of that year, probably like 2021 or something. I can't remember. It's been a few years since I read it. It was amazing. It's like their own book that they wrote, whereas this is, of course, DC Superman. So, you know, when I was growing up, I never liked Superman that much. I was more of a Batman guy. As I've gotten older, I've grown to appreciate Superman a lot more. And I've heard this run's really good, so super excited to read it. This definitely should have been an oversized hardcover, but DC's been really weird lately, and they're just doing paperbacks and standard hardcovers, so I'll take what I can get. It looks really nice, at least for what it is. So yeah, there's a paperback. I do have some hardcovers. So I finally jumped on Invincible Volume 3. So I had Volume 1 and Volume 2, and I got those for like 60% off. I got a great deal on the first two. So I held off on Volume 3. Can't hardly even see it because it's so shiny. I need to take the cover off of here. I usually won't take them off until I'm ready to read it, but I was waiting on Volume 3, just hoping I could find a sale. It wasn't happening, and I just, you know, I would hate to miss out on the third book to complete the trilogy because I was greedy, you know. So I went ahead and jumped on it, bought Volume 3. I've read like the first 20 issues or so of Invincible, and I knew I really liked what I'd read so far. I've heard it just gets better and better, so definitely knew I needed to pick up the whole series. And this is just a standard size hardcover. It's not as big as like an omnibus. You can see how much bigger a Marvel book is. But that's okay. Not everything has to be the deluxe. But speaking of that, I actually picked up Jonathan Hickman's Avengers. So I've read quite a bit of Hickman, and everything I've read by him, I'm just enthralled by. He's just such a weird, creative, challenging writer. And that's just right up my alley. I love that. So I have not really read any Avengers books. I really have always been an X-Men, Spider-Man kind of guy. And this will be really my first big dive into Avengers. The only other Avengers I've really read before is the Brian Michael Bendis run. But I have a big gripe with this. So this looks like a really well-built book. Amazing. I can't wait to get into it. I actually read Hickman's Secret Wars, which is like the ending of this, just because, I don't know, I read the very end of the series. So I did end up getting Volume 2 as well. So these are the direct market covers. So these are the covers you can only get from places that sell comic books, like comic book stores, or in-stock trades is where I get these. Like Amazon and places like that, you can't get direct market covers. They will only sell you the standard edition covers. Doesn't really matter, just wanted to say they have different covers. So when you put the spines together, they are supposed to match and make the A for Avengers. And they totally screwed it up. Look at that. That is, so someone like me, a collector who displays these books on my shelves, this is just very sad to see. It's so ugly. I would have rather just have an A on each cover rather than half the A, and then the whole point was it was supposed to connect and make the A. I believe the original printing of these books came out just fine. So the second book will match up with the first book and make the A for Avengers, but not in the reprint. They screwed it up. Oh, whatever. I know it's a silly thing, but man, it's just so annoying. What a bummer. But I'm really excited to read this. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be weird, and you're not going to know what's going on for a lot of it, but just stick with it, and I know it's going to end up being really good in the long run. So the last thing I have here is quite a bit different than the rest of it. I have been on a classic kick where I've been trying to read lots of challenging books, classic books, and this is Samuel Beckett. It's all of his works in hardcover, and I got this thing for dirt cheap. I just decided to jump on it. I was afraid it would show up in terrible condition. Sometimes when you order things online, they're going to show up all beat up, but I took a chance, ordered it, and it's perfect. It's in perfect condition. And yeah, look at those spines. That is, that's pretty intense, right? It's just him staring at you. So, volume 1 is his novels. Volume 2, novels. Volume 3, dramatic works. So, like his plays. Volume 4 is poems and short fiction. So, yeah, super excited to get into some Samuel Beckett. Sounds like, from what I've learned, this will be right up my alley. So yeah, that's it. That's it. So again, I bought a bunch of books, even though I have so many that I need to read. That's just how I am. I got a really good deal on pretty much everything I bought. So yeah, pretty soon I will release what I read in April, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So stick around. See you then.